Haha, Monday. Weekend's over. Go back to work, bitch. Haha. I hate it here.
Let's talk about furries. If you've been on the internet for more than 10 minutes, you know what furries are. People that enjoy anthropomorphic animal characters that usually involves art and wearing fursuits, not to mention the huge orgies that they have at conventions. Furries have been on the internet for as long as people have seen characters like Lola Bunny and Maid Marian and thought, yeah, I'm into that shit, and never pumped the brakes on that sort of thinking.
This cannot be where it all started. Anyone would admit she's pretty hot. It's a totally normal reaction. That doesn't make me a furry.
And there's not anything necessarily wrong with that, it's just that furries really like to let themselves be known to everyone else. The Frosted Flakes Twitter account learned that the hard way. Poor Tony the Tiger. He just wanted to sell cereal. Call me a fence sitter, but I don't hate furries. Some of my best friends are furries. And not just because I want to be in their good graces in case I ever meet one of those filthy rich furries in the tech industry. I genuinely like these people. But hating on furries for being weirdos has been a thing since non-furries learned that they existed. It's not hard. And while I think making fun of other people is funny and helps build emotional calluses to dumb insults, I do find it all to be played out for the most part. The issue is that in all communities, the ones that stand out and gain the most attention are the creeps and the freaks. And the furry community has a lot of them. In all honesty, I cannot think of a single famous furry by name that isn't known for some sort of sexual abuse or impropriety, oftentimes with a minor or a literal animal. I guess some of these weirdos forget that the guy in the suit isn't actually a magical fox-wolf hybrid. And the shit always floats to the top and garners the most attention, making any group look bad. So unfortunately, when the majority of people think furry, they think weirdo sex pervert, which, to be fair, isn't necessarily wrong. But in most cases, it's between consenting human adults. I really hate that I have to specify human. Not that I'm a furry apologist, I've just been on the internet a long time and seen some real weird shit. After all that, a twink dressing up as a husky with an overinflated belly just doesn't faze me anymore. I've stared into the abyss, and the abyss has stared right back into me. So why am I talking about furries? That's because I found a new person of interest on the internet, and he happens to be a furry. Blazy Fox is a 30-year-old Australian YouTuber and furry, that makes a variety of videos, mostly pertaining to furries and furry culture. Big surprise there. He's been making videos for 11 years and has a substantial following of about 9,000 YouTube subscribers today. Nothing to look down on. A furry YouTuber, nothing special there. So why am I discussing him? Well, I was having an average day when a video by the Leaping Lemur popped up into my recommendations. BlazieFox, another furry lolcow, which you should all go check out. I'm going to try and avoid talking about all the same points that Lemur makes during his video so as not to copy him, but I think his title is inaccurate. I have seen no evidence of Blazy being a lolcow outside of being an eccentric, but most furries are. Blazy doesn't share enough common traits that cows have, such as being attention-seeking, slovenly, narcissistic, or delusional. So no, in my professional opinion, I'd say that Blazy is not a lolcow. But unfortunately, he is showing some signs of being something much worse. A creep. Now, before I continue, I want to make something very clear. I am not accusing Blazy of anything, and no one watching this should harass or accuse him of anything. These sorts of things can destroy a person's life, and it is wrong to say anything without concrete evidence. Innocent until proven guilty. As I've mentioned before, furries are a horny bunch. Not all of them, but from what I've seen, it's the vast majority. And like I said, if everyone consents, go fucking nuts. I don't give a shit. And being a furry, Blazy often makes sexual content. And while it's not my thing, he's free to do so. The issue is that he also makes very child-friendly content that is clearly aimed at a minor audience. And his most popular video is, how old should you be to get a fursuit? where he actually says that younger people should not get them, albeit mainly for the fact that a child will quickly outgrow any that they get. Obviously a video targeted at a minor audience, but understandably so. The reason that Blazy ended up on anyone's radar is because he made a now deleted video in response to Shark Hunter, a 14-year-old YouTuber who primarily makes comedic roast videos on furries, who made a video on Blazy. Blazy's response video to this was way over the top, making several claims that Shark should be banned from YouTube for being a minor, threatening legal action, and calling for his fans to mass flag his channel to try and get it removed. He also accused Shark of doxing him when he showed photos that Blazy posted on his own public Twitter, so he's clearly lying to try and control the narrative. This reaction was needlessly excessive to a kid making a video with pretty benign jokes to a much smaller audience. His original video on Blazy, as of writing this, has only recently hit 1,000 views. Most people that are criticized online just ignore it and move on, especially when the criticisms are coming from someone with a much smaller audience. Blazy's reaction wasn't very Lolcow-like, in my opinion. It feels more like an over-the-top reaction to someone who can't handle any sort of criticism. The type that is either very insecure, or when said criticism makes a valid point. Blazy, your overly aggressive reaction to a kid making fun of you and subsequently hiding it did much more damage to your public image than it did fixing it. Now there are multiple videos of people talking shit about you because you reacted so poorly. Then Blazy made another response video. This one did not call out Shark Hunter specifically. He instead made Why I Make These Videos, where he defends his very sexual content. The problem is that Blazy doesn't really address the issues that people bring up and makes a straw man argument about how he's made hundreds of videos but only a couple are sexual, trying to downplay the criticisms against him. No one would really care if Blazy just made safe for work videos on the topic of fetishes. There are tons of people who do that already. Blazy is just making excuses so as to deflect any criticism instead of owning what he did is weird.
Like, one of the big ones I do not have a problem with, and people need to stop shaming it so hard for the reason I'm going to get into. Diapers. Diaper furries, and so on. For one, diapers do not have to be an adult baby situation, which everyone generally thinks it is, which no, it's not. I'm bringing it up because I want to talk about one aspect of it. Those who have no choice in wearing diapers. This is one of those things that, like, oh, that explains why you're into it, and why people need to calm down on the shaming, because you're doing more harm than good, without understanding. There are those who have bladder or bowel or both problems and cannot control it, so they need to wear diapers. So what do they do about it then? They turn it into something fun, something naughty, so then they can get some kind of enjoyment out of something that is kind of horrible to have.
Man, what the fuck is you talking about?
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry, man. No, I wasn't thinking about it.
And avoid having to state that he'll stop doing it. He keeps dodging the accusations because he knows what he's doing is inappropriate and he doesn't want to admit any sort of fault on his end. This only makes you look more suspicious. He also tries to say that all furries are perverts while still welcoming in young furs.
Look, essentially, why do I make these videos? Again, I'm fascinated by it, and I like to figure these things out. And I'm an adult, and the furry fandom is kind of known for this kind of stuff, and is a big part of this fandom. So I'm going to talk to my audience.
Which is not a good look for you, dude. But I want to reiterate, I have seen no evidence of sexual impropriety with minors involving Blazy, and I don't want anyone to accuse him of doing such. He does welcome young kids into the furry community, which he shouldn't, and he does talk to them in the comments of his videos. Lemur's video delves into this with much more detail. Go give it a watch.
I fucking hate sickos more than I love Ozzy Osbourne.
But I can't find any sicko evidence. Please don't make me wrong, Blazy. That being said, Blazy could easily fix this situation, but he seems to be just plugging his fluffy ears and acting like he's done nothing wrong. If he just owned it and started making changes, people would leave him alone. But as more people discover him, the more hate he gets. So in case you're listening, Blazy, I'm going to reiterate what I told you in your comment section that you conveniently ignored. Make a second channel. Make another channel specifically for your adult and fetish related content. You have your other persona, Sass. Use him as the mascot for those topics. If you make a clean separation between these two subjects and their audiences, then people will see that you're making a concerted effort to keep kids away from your sexual content and stop accusing you of being a creep. You were right when you said it's on parents to monitor what their kids are watching online, but it's also up to the creators themselves to try and keep minors away from their adult content. This is a very easy change, and if you refuse to do this, it will only make you look more guilty. As I mentioned earlier, I don't consider Blazy a lolcow simply because he doesn't have enough characteristics to be one, in my opinion. I'm working on another video to break down what specific characteristics make a lolcow, but it's still in the works. From what I've seen, the only trait Blazy has for sure is that he's a liar. One trait is not enough, so I will not refer to him as a cow. Though that being said, Blazy did recently start e-begging on Twitter for food money, which is something a lot of lolcows do. And he's been tagging YouTube on Twitter to get Lemur's video on him taken down. That's a stuttering John move, dude. So maybe the future will reveal him to be a cow, but I hope for his sake that it doesn't. Now, I didn't make this video to jump on the bandwagon of a brand new lolcow to laugh at, but instead to get eyes on Blazy. Not so that people harass him, simply to keep him from doing anything stupid. Not to compare Blazy to actual creeps, but people like the White Bowser and Jupiter the Hybrid are scared of doing things with kids, knowing that trolls will quickly find out and tell everyone. It obviously doesn't stop them completely, but it slows them down significantly, keeps them wary knowing that the trolls are always observing silently. One last time, I don't think Blazy is a sicko like them, and if he stops being a weirdo to this degree, I will admit that he's not and give him the credit he deserves. But it never hurts to keep an eye on someone suspicious. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy you stuck to the end. This video was sort of different to normal internet weirdo / lolcow content, but I thought it was important to make. No one wants more creeps online, and I think it's a good thing to try and prevent that without actual harassment. So what do you guys think? Does Blazy still have a chance to turn things around and stop being accused of this sort of stuff? Tell me down below in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe. Alright, see you guys later. Peace. By the way, the first who head isn't mine, it's Ruvik's. No.